All right, what is up? We are live. What's up, Escobar? He said, I won't lie. I'm not mad how this race played out. I wish the tires would have lasted just a little bit longer, but it was a good race. And Gladiator Denny Hamlin wins back-to-back Bristol races. So what's up, Escobar, and in between the lanes? So let's run down the rundown order. Of course, Denny Hamlin does win the race here. And I have no idea how anybody else got to where they were going because there was just so much going on with this race, with the tires falling off, with people off strategy, some people staying out, like everything. Oh, my goodness. Like, I have no idea who got where. So let's just go down this top 10 list and try to figure out as much of it as we can. We'll do the top 15. Let's see. Hamlin, of course, wins. He led 163 laps. The next closest man, of course, was Ty Gibbs, who was running out there. He went out there and led a lot of laps early, but was burning his stuff up. He ends up further down here, but he led 137 as well. Martin Truex Jr. finished second. Good run for him. He led 54 laps. Strong showing for Joe Gibbs in general. Brad Keselowski with another good finish for RFK. He did lead one lap for the Fords there. I think the next closest Ford, I think Josh Berry led the most laps for Ford. But we'll scroll down through here and see how all that played out. Alex Bowman, obvious pit strategy here from Alex Bowman. He ends up finishing fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. If it hadn't been for the penalty on pit road, I think Kyle Larson would have been in on this Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. battle at the end. But ifs are not the reality of the world. So that is not what happened. So he ends up finishing fifth. So good recovery to finish fifth nonetheless. John Hunter Nemechek, I think his best finish so far with Legacy Motor Club. He ends up in sixth place. He was kind of on that same Ty Gibbs strategy where he would go out there and just run as hard as he could and just see where it shook out. Chris Buescher ends up in seventh here. From what I remember with John Hunter Nemechek, he was running pretty hard when I was watching him. Chris Buescher, I have no idea what he did to get to seventh place, but he ended up in seventh place. Chase Elliott, same boat. Chase Elliott, he spun out early in the race, and I don't know what he did after that, but he ends up in eighth place. Ty Gibbs, of course, was leading this race until his tires gave up on him, and so he finishes ninth. He was one of the earlier people to go down pit road. Like I said, 137 laps left for him. Christopher Bell, right below him. He led 29 laps in this thing and was always up near the front, but it looks like his tires sort of gave up at the same time that Gibbs did. Like I said, hard to tell because there was just so much going on. Michael McDowell, he was up and down all race long. He ends up because he finishes 11th here. Josh Berry ends up 12th, another guy that had an up and down day. He led 25 laps for the Ford gang. Chase Briscoe ends up in 13th place. Ryan Preece in 14th. So not a terrible day for Stewart Haas Racing. Noah Gragson, where did he end up finishing? Noah Gragson was 34th, but so the opposite of a normal SHR day. Noah Gragson 34th. The rest of the SHR guys up here in the top 15. And Ross Chastain rounds out your top 15. Started dead last on the day. Ends up finishing 15th. Ryan Blaney, Justin Haley, Daniel Suarez, Kaz Grala, and Eric Jones round out your top 20. So there you go. That is that. And let's see if they've updated the points yet. Refresh the page. We don't have an updated points just yet, so we can't get to that until they do it. I'm over here on J-Ski as far as the points go, so we'll have to wait for them to update the points over here and see what happens, but nothing yet. So we'll just jump into the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. But obviously the big story today was the tires. Should Goodyear stay with this tire? Did you like this type of racing or did you not like it? That is the poll question, and just as I suspected, it's about 50-50. It's fluctuating back and forth right now as I'm looking at it. 52% right now saying yes, 48% saying no, 27 votes so far. So if you want to vote on that poll, feel free to jump in. Let's see. Ty Gibbs practically dominated the day. He did dominate the day, but it's one of those deals where the last lap is the one that matters, especially in a tire conservation type race. So I would have been in his ear because I know Ty Gibbs from he used to drive for a guy named Greg Marlowe. And Greg Marlowe said he'll do whatever you tell him to do. So if they had told Ty Gibbs to save tire, I think Ty Gibbs would have saved tire. So I'm going to have to put that on the strategy because Ty Gibbs, he can drive the car however you want him to drive it. So if they had told him he needed to save tire, I think he would have saved tire. What a banger of a race. So there you go. Glock liked the style of racing. That was a better than tires not mattering at all. Great race overall, says Kevin S. I think so too. I like the fact that we've got tire fall off. I'm all in favor of that. And I think now that the teams know that they have this type of tire, they can sort of set the car up for this tire now that they know that they can't abuse it like they abuse the other harder tires that had no fall off. So I think if Goodyear just keeps this tire, you'll easily get 60 to 70 laps out of it now that the teams know that they have tire fall off like this. And I think overall it's going to be a good thing, but you definitely don't want to see a tire wearing out in 50 laps. So maybe Goodyear goes just a hair, but really I think Goodyear needs to leave it alone and let the teams adjust to it. So I think the teams can adjust to it. They just didn't know what they were coming into today. Now that they know what they're coming into, I think they will adjust to it. So if I was Goodyear, that's just me personally swaying the poll here, I know. But I think Goodyear doesn't need to do anything to the tires. The teams need to adjust to the tires. Good race finally, says Mark Barnum. It was very reminiscent. A lot of people said this. I'm just repeating what a lot of people said. But it was very reminiscent of an 80s and 90s race where you had to manage your tires. You couldn't just go out there and abuse your tires like you can in the current modern era. After going, oh, my God, it's the 08 Brickyard all over again. I'm talking myself off the ledge over the 24. I think it's the tires. Made the race really good, actually. Yeah, I think a lot of people are sort of in that boat. I think a lot of people panicked when they first, and justifiably so. A lot of people panicked when it first started happening because they were like, oh, my God, you're just having that PTSD flashback of the Brickyard 08 or 05 Charlotte for some people. I saw some people say that. So I think there was a lot of that, but I think after the teams figured out what was going on, it actually ended up being a good race because they were like, hey, we can't just go out here and wear out tires. Zane Smith wins on Earth too. So there you go, OJ and Toothpaste. I didn't do the last place finishers. Let me jump down there. Zane Smith taking home last place over top of William Byron and Noah Gregson. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the running for last, but he couldn't quite get the job done. Once again, Harrison Burton, Austin Cindric, dadgummit. His bad luck just keeps continuing for the number 2 car. Austin Dillon actually had decent luck today, but his tires did wear out at the end because he was trying to stay 1 lap down, ends up finishing 2 laps down, but he ends up in 24th when all is said and done. So there you go. There are your last car competitors or Earth 2 finishers, depending on how you look at it. If it's Brock Beard, it's last car. If you're on here, it is, of course, Earth 2 winners. I'd rather have a race like this than tires not wearing. Zane Smith was rushed, says Mark Barnum. I don't know that he was rushed, but he's definitely had a run of bad luck for sure. He needs to figure out this car, and that is a fact. Maybe does the 71 car need to get the wheels rolling soon and stop screwing around if they're going to win the championship this year, says OJ and Toothpaste. For sure, Zane is off to a slow start, so his championship hopes might possibly be dashed. What's got to be even more irritating to him is that the 77, not necessarily this race, but the 77 has run good. So that's got to be really irritating if you're Zane Smith. I agree. Zane wasn't ready for Cup, says Escobar. Gibbs made up the top 4 towards the end, says in between the lanes. I don't know if he was ready for Cup or not, but this car is just so much different than anything they've ever driven. So I do have to factor that in there. I mean, we saw Noah Gregson look like a fish out of water. Then this year we've seen Noah Gregson look really good. So it could be just adjusting to the car as well. Austin Dillon finished a race, says in between the lanes. Yeah, this is the second race he's finished, and this is a 24th, and the other one he finished was like a 15th or 16th or something like that, in that range. Love the race. The drivers had to manage what they had. Definitely created comers and goers, 9 out of 10. I did like the coming and going. I just didn't like the tire popping. I want to have tire fall off where the tire doesn't necessarily explode on them because that can be a dangerous situation, especially at Bristol. But like I said, I think now that the teams know this, they can adjust the cars for this. Put less camber angle in it. Because if you saw all the tires, they were all wore out on the edge. There was way too much camber in some of those tires. So they were running on a very thin piece of the tire, contact patch or whatever you want to call it, on that tire. I bet Daniel Suarez is happy seeing Zane struggle, says Escobar. I don't know about that. I think they all pretty much get along over there. I think Trackhouse has something bigger in plan. That's why I keep thinking that they're going to be a Honda team. So we'll see what happens over there at Trackhouse. Leave the tires alone. Just get more sets, says Martin Fan for Life. Because the easiest way for Trackhouse to get 2 more charters for free would just to become the Honda team, right? Then you get 2 more charters, and you can put SVG and Zane Smith in there. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying it makes sense, right? Do the NASCAR gods have a problem with Rowdy Busch? The last couple weeks, or 2 or 3 weeks, they have for sure. Another pit road issue for him as well. In my opinion, Goodyear fixed the short track racing, get rid of stage cautions, and we're good to go. Goodyear failed up. They successfully failed the mission. Good point there, Joshua Thaxton. Mission successfully failed. or failed successfully, however that meme goes. I'm split on the tires. They need to be a bit better, but dang, I was glued to the TV. Yeah, I think a lot of this can be fixed with setup too, because like I said, there was a lot of camber because they thought these tires just weren't going to wear out like they had in the past, so they were really trying to abuse the tires. So a lot of it could be put on setup too. I'm not necessarily sold that we need to change this tire just yet, but NASCAR is going to NASCAR, and they're going to immediately make them change it. So there's no need to debate it. NASCAR is going to make them change it, unfortunately. At the end, some of those tire runs, in my opinion, I was wondering if they were going slower than Bristol Dirt at some point, especially when Blaney was blowing by everyone with a fresh set. I mean, yeah, there was about a second or more difference or maybe I think they said 2 seconds at one point when somebody was leading. So, yeah, 2-second difference at some points. This race was the ultimate turning chicken crap into chicken salad. Yeah, for once, it actually happened. I gave it a grade of A. I'm with you. I think it was a good race. Aaron saying you need to fall off, but not this drastic. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I think a lot of it, if the teams know this is coming, teams can adjust to this with their setup as well, but maybe come back with just a slightly harder tire, not very much at all, because I think this tire was really close to being perfect. So they don't need to get super conservative with it either. I think this was a great race. Toyota dominated at the end. Yeah, I mean, I think Toyota dominated throughout the whole thing, really. I mean, other than Josh Berry being up there until he had his issues with the tires, I felt like it was just a straight up Toyota race. I want to say they led close to 300 laps. I know 200 and 130 and 150 or 60. Where were we at with Hamlin here? Ham, bone, Malone. 163 for him and 137. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's like that's 180 between those two, basically, if I'm doing my math right. So 180 between two drivers for Joe Gibbs. So I mean, I think Toyota had it under control for most of the race. Another good short track run for Toyota. This race was fun to watch today with these tires, says RJ. What's up, RJ? For sure, it was definitely a good one. Quattro, what's up, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Quattro enjoyed his day thoroughly in the bush light zone, and he took full advantage of the bush light zone. He was if you were over on Discord with us, he did a great job bringing us all the in-track, all the at-track fan experience amenities and stuff like that. So he did a great job. Super awesome to have him on board, helping us out like that. Another bad day for Logano and Kyle Busch, and another good race day for Ty Gibbs. He certainly has behaved better since becoming a Cup driver, says Jamie Sweitner. Yeah, maybe. He mollywopped at one point Christopher Bell. Like, he just rammed into the back of him, like never checked up, never lifted. So we'll have to see. He still got it in him, but other than that, I would agree with you. He was on his P's and Q's today. Brad and I like Ty Gibbs, but I got to call it like I see it. Brad was a third place. 17th was 7th. Another great day for RFK for sure. RFK getting the job done once again. What's up, Quattro? How was it from the stands? Says Glock. Because Toyota won the last 2 Cup races. Are they for real? After 4 races, 5 if you count the Clash. I mean, I gotta say, like I said at the very beginning, the way that Toyota is shaped, like, that thing is going to be fast, and I've been right so far. So, and it's only going to get faster. So whenever Chevrolet brings whatever they're bringing, I expect Chevrolet's car to look very similar to that Toyota Camry if they want to win. Ford, I think they've got some room. Ford is really fast in qualifying, so we know the speed is there. Ford has just got to figure out how to make it not fall off like they're falling off. And RFK has figured it out. But Penske is hit or miss. Like, Penske is either like really good or Penske is really bad. So Ford is still sort of figuring it out. But I think Ford's going to be really fast too. So I would expect Chevrolet to borrow everything that's working from both of those cars when they bring their new car forward, whatever it may be. Ford or Camaro. Howdy from the Great White North. The tires are hard. That's why there was powder all over the place. I give Dylan good luck. He didn't wreck, but RCR is having troubles maybe. Definitely at the short tracks. RCR at the short tracks, not good. Kyle Busch had speed, but his tires couldn't handle it. He was expecting a much harder tire. So I think when they come back, I think they'll come with a less aggressive setup to improve tire wear and tire run. Not a fan of the winter, but the racing was great. Glad to see tire management play a factor, says Tim Brace. I was glad to see tire management play a factor. That's something that definitely needs to be in all the races, but maybe not to this extent. But like I said, if they know the tire is going to be this soft, they can come back with a setup that will effectively be for this tire. It was fantastic to see the whole track except for turn one because the angle. But it was great, says Quattro. Yeah, so Bristol's another one that it's not really necessarily a bad seat in the house. You can see most of the track no matter where you sit, is what everybody's told me. I haven't been there for a race yet. Bush's pit situation is worrisome. That whole program is holding them back, says Ryan Fussner. Tires, great. Just bring more of them, says Robert Stone. There you go. Maybe just bring a few more tires. Maybe that's why we're not practicing. We don't have enough tires to practice with. Let's start that rumor. Can Goodyear not make enough tires for us to practice? Let's see. Not a fan. Tire management is good. This cording was garbage. Basically, tire save for the last 10 laps, says MB. Yep. Basically, normal Saturday night short track racing. That's what a lot of them do out there. Quattro, did the fans like the racing with the tires there in attendance? Says lots of cording at the center too. It depends. Like a lot of the ones you saw corded in the center, you could see there was a flat spot in it. So at some point they had braked really hard. So that had a lot to do with it too. But most of them that you saw that were corded that were running good. Now don't get me wrong. If somebody was running poorly, they were corded no matter where. But if somebody was running good, it was typically corded sort of to the inside of the tire, which is what you would expect. Let's see. Great race today, and the best part, another week without a green-white checkered finish, for sure, JM. Good point. They were 2.5 seconds at one point. Yes, at 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds with new tires. For those that don't know, Quattro is there at the track today. I love the race. But whether you could run 10 laps on a set of tires or 100, they weren't laying rubber down on the track, and that is a change they're going to want to make. Now, I do agree with that. You definitely have to put rubber on the track, and when you put rubber on the track, that's going to increase the life of the tire anyway. NASCAR got a super speedway race on a short track by accident today, says TJ Moorshed. 52 or something lead changes. I heard a good amount of positive feedback walking around, so there you go. The fans in attendance liked it as well. Goodyear having a bad year again. It reminded me of how the Indy 500 is run now with fuel saving, leaders swapping for tire wear purposes. Mainly because of how unpredictable it was, says Quattro. So, yeah, there you go. Like, I don't think anybody could, aside from maybe Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, I'm not sure anybody can give you a rundown on where certain drivers, how they ended up where they ended up. So it was pretty crazy. All the strategy involved. Nobody was on the same strategy, it seemed like. Bowman would have one if it was the Food City 550, says a Napa Racing fan. I don't disagree with you on that one. That Truex Jr. scheme, I liked it. In between the lanes. I don't know if I know you were here, but I don't know if everybody was here when we were first talking about it. But I really like that one on the pre-race. Great race despite the winner. I think NASCAR should give a higher tire allotment. Like more tires might help too, but definitely, like I said, make at least a slight change to this tire so it does at least lay down rubber onto the track and not just throw it up. Although some of that was thrown up there, the marbles could have been the traction compound they had. Miss Glock was happy with her driver one. Sometimes she thinks she's the only Denny fan left. There's plenty of Denny fans. I like Denny personally. Like I know a lot of people don't, but like without Denny Hamlin, this would be a very boring sport. Let's just be completely honest with it. He got booed hard, says Glock. Yeah, he's not well received in Bristol. Another Chase Elliott no show. He finished 11th. Chase Elliott was 11th, so he led some laps until his tire blew up. So I'm not going to necessarily call him a no show. He was there. He made the most of it. So I don't know. I guess if Chase Elliott doesn't win, he's a no-show. I don't know. This felt like a fuel-saving race at Daytona. Loss of grip is good, destroying them. Not so much, says MBR. And I wish, hopefully, they'll post the driver. Nope, not yet. Waiting on the driver point still on J-Ski. I think there was a big mystery as to why the track wouldn't take rubber. It was cloudy and cooler. I don't think the humidity, but I don't understand why it wouldn't take rubber. I don't think it was the resin versus the PJ1. Says Acid Rain. Yeah, that's above my pay grade as far as that goes. I have no idea because I have no idea what Goodyear brought tire-wise with their compound. Goodyear can never find the right balance. Either the tire doesn't wear at all or it wears too quickly, says Napa Racing fan. I mean, that's a fair critique to make. Thoughts about Denny punting Bubba at the end. He was trying to win, man. I've said this numerous times. When you're trying to win, everything's fair game. So Denny will have to talk to the car owner about punting the 23 out of the way. You notice he didn't punt Austin Dillon out of the way, though. So maybe he knows one of them will retaliate and the other one won't. I don't know. Let's see. Hello, Kyle. Do you think Kyle Busch's issues? Now, obviously, Bubba Wallace isn't going to retaliate to his team owner. So, I mean, I'm just saying. That's all I meant by that. Don't come at me. I don't want to hear all about it. Hello, Kyle. Do you think Kyle Busch's issues are becoming his pit crew? What's up, Danielle? there's something going on with them getting the lug nut on. Like, he's always taking off early, so they got to figure out something going on with that lug nut back there. Like, that seems to be the problem over and over again. That's the reason the guy jumped on top of the hood today or was run over, whatever you want to say. So it's something with that rear tire that they've got to get figured out. Ty Gibbs is winning next week at COTA, says Napa Racing fan. He might. This is going to be the interesting test. These cars are good. These two new cars, what I'm talking about, the Ford and the Toyota, are very fast at ovals right now. Let's see if they went heavy on ovals and if that's going to pay off on a road course. That's going to be the interesting thing to see, because we haven't seen that particular test on these cars just yet. Two Rick Ware cars in the top 20, legit running top 10 at times, was unexpected, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, that was probably the coolest thing of all time. Like, at one point, Kaz Gralla and Justin Haley were running 10th and 11th that I looked at. So that was super cool. Rick Ware Racing, they were actually being serious when they said they're going to try to improve their performance this year. And so I've got to give them absolute credit. They have gotten two really good drivers, and those two drivers are going to bump them up in potential finishes there. I wonder how much, and they've obviously put more into the equipment with that RFK alliance as well. I wonder how much difference there is between a hard tire compound and a soft. It seems like it may be microscopic, since Goodyear can rarely nail it. I don't know. I just know in Formula One they've got like a medium, a hard, and a soft. So there's got to be a fine line in there that Goodyear can figure out. So we'll see what happens. Hamlin had a nice scheme as well. Yeah, he did have a nice scheme. I agree. It just looks so weird seeing him drive anything other than FedEx. It's so weird to look at. Tires were the great equalizer, says Brian Zimmerman. For sure. And that's what I've been saying the whole time. Everybody's talking about the short track package. They need more horsepower. I'm like, if they would fix the tires, we wouldn't be talking about any of this. And today they somewhat fixed the tires. They went too far in one direction with it, but they somewhat fixed the tires, and you had a lot of fall off, and you saw that it doesn't matter. Horsepower doesn't matter. You got to get the tire. The tires just have to have fall off. That's why people want more horsepower. This race was crazier and wilder than Atlanta, says Napa Racing fan. SVG going to win the Xfinity race at COTA next week. Napa Racing fan, hey, I'm not going to bet against SVG. It's hard to bet against SVG or AJ Allmendinger over there. So it's going to be in the Xfinity series, I should say, AJ Allmendinger. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over there in COTA. You got Kobayashi there driving for 2311. Don't fall asleep on him either. Carlock hasn't been as good lately. I doubt SVG's abilities. I don't doubt SVG's abilities, though. I have a feeling they're going to spend a lot of money on the setup for this race. So they're going to have a premium A1 setup for SVG there. Let's see. Next race, just bring a couple more sets of tires and a smaller fuel cell, says Escobar. For sure. Drivers have been asking for tire wear. Goodyear delivered, and then some 1,000 horses. So 1,000 horses aren't needed. Most lead changes there's ever been there, says Thomas Nichols. I'm with you, Thomas. Now, they can fix the tire wear a little bit, but I agree with you 100%. Even if they just had to stick with this tires, teams would adjust to this particular tire and make it go longer. So, but there would still be a lot of tire racing, to be honest with you. That's what I'm saying. The short track package can be fixed with tires. All this other stuff they're doing, they're wasting their time. Brakes were hot while on pit road, says in between the lanes. It was fun being at the race, being the at the race info provider. We appreciate you, Quattro. True, I think Colleague is stretching it too far with two cup cars. They might be, or they're just not getting enough sponsorship. There's two ways of looking at that one. I got to say, I really enjoyed the race today. It was the first race at Bristol in a while. They kept my attention from start to finish. I'm with you, man. The race was entertaining from the beginning to the end. It was always something different going on. The change from PJ1 to resin on the bottom definitely changed how Bristol is run, and the tire wear, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, that's definitely what the Goodyear guy said. He said we didn't know what to expect because they're not using PJ1. He said that's the only variable we couldn't account for. So that's what Goodyear is leaning toward. 54 lead changes, NASCAR short track record, says Mike. So there you go. 54 is the actual number. For a moment, Alex Bowman had the whole field lapped. Bowman supremacy still reigns in 2024. Yeah, he finished in front of all the Hendrick drivers, so hopefully he's off the hot seat this week. BB, do you think RCR is going to have a happy meeting with the pit crew tomorrow? I think at some point you can only beat them down so much, right? So at some point you got to go the opposite direction with it. It just depends on what the previous meetings have been like. Hiawatha BD race was interesting and entertained with tire management, but resin I thought needs to be looked at. Yeah, they definitely can look at the resin too. And the teams can look at their setups and they'll know how to adjust for this if they keep this tire, which I hope they do, or at least a tire similar to it that maybe doesn't fall off as fast, but they don't need to drastically change it and make it way harder. Most non-super speedway led changes since 1981 in Michigan, which was 65. Oh, there you go. There you go. 65 at Michigan. Number one, Bowman fan says B. Ross Chastain is essentially a non-factor as a competitor so far. Hopefully for the Melonhead fans, he will get better results soon. He was the highest finishing Chevrolet last week, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Where are the points at? I want to see the points. Where are the points at? There we go. Points are finally up. So there you go. Kyle Larson takes over the points lead. Martin Truex Jr. is tied with him. So we got a tie for the points lead between Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson. Ty Gibbs is third, and he is 7 back of those two. Ryan Blaney is 4th. Denny Hamlin is 5th. Chase Elliott is 6th. Ross Chastain is 7th. Christopher Bell is 8th. Tyler Reddick is 9th. Fast Willie B is in 10th. Let's see. So, yeah, Ross Chastain 7th in points. I think he's done okay so far. Let's see. Daniel Suarez is 11th in points. 12th, and he's already locked in with a win. Alex Bowman is 12th in points. Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, John Hunter Nemechek, and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch into the 16 now, or falls to 16th with this finish, I should say. And Michael McDowell bumped out of the playoffs as it stands right now. Bubba Wallace is 18th, Chase Briscoe 19th, and Eric Jones 20th. Those are your closest guys on the outside looking in. Austin Dillon 21st. And Joey Logano picks up 2 spots. He's up to 26th in points. Josh Berry 27th in points. Where is Ryan Preece? Ryan Preece had a fairly decent run. He had a top 15. He is still 34th in points, though. He did pick up 1 spot. He passed Zane Smith. So Zane Smith, of the guys that have run all the races this season, Zane Smith is currently last in points. Ryan Preece right behind him. Kaz Grala just above him. And Noah Gragson, 32nd after the big penalty. Noah lost 6 spots today, so he's back to 32nd now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as the season goes on. But there you go. There's your points rundown. We finally got the points. BB, how long did you think we got before we get a repeat winner? I think the 45, the 19, or the 9 can get it done next week, which should keep the streak going. It's going to be interesting. That's probably a good question. Who do you think we have a poll question up now, so I can't ask this one. Do you think Goodyear should change the tires? Right now with 95 votes, 54% say yes, they should change the tires. 46% say no, they should not change the tires. So they are slight edge to change the tires with 95 votes, I should say, this far. Let's see. I don't know who the first repeat winner is going to be, though. That's a good question. That's always a good question. Final criticism of this race: Fox needs to zoom out their camera. Oh God, Fox's camera work. Don't even get me started. You're at Bristol, 3/4 mile COTA next week, 3.4 COTA next week. I understand. This is totally unnecessary. Yeah, their camera work leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, even in qualifying, they couldn't keep the camera on Kyle Busch. They focused in on Richard Childress, and Kyle Busch had a moment in qualifying that we didn't get to see. LOL Keselowski just said this felt like an old school late model race. That's 100% what I was thinking. It's just like we do on late models. You save, and then when it's time to go, you go. How about Ty Gibbs after an issue on pit road came up toward the front around P4? Yeah, for sure. Ty Gibbs ended up, let's see here. Ty Gibbs was 9th. He ended up 9th. But yeah, he dominated most of the race, but he wore his stuff out. He didn't save. They should have told him to save more than he saved. Join us at Toyota Racing, says in between the lanes, talking about the Toyota commercial that they play quite often. Before there was a 2 out of 10 on tire wear. There was 8, 9 out of 10, somewhere between there would be nice, says Brad K. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like an 8 or 9. Today we were at 11 out of 10, no doubt about that. So, but part of it was the setup, so you got to factor that in too. So maybe Goodyear sticks with this tire, but makes it just slightly more durable. They don't need much. It doesn't need much. It just needs a little bit. Bring back the dirt, but not Bristol. I still believe they should try Eldora. If the LA Coliseum and Chicago streets can succeed, why not purpose build a dirt track? The good thing I will say, they do need to upgrade this tire. But the good thing I will say is Goodyear now sees if they build a tire with fall off that can last more than 50 laps, we're going to have some great racing, and the fans will really appreciate it, especially at the short tracks. So if Goodyear can get this tire to fall off like that, but last, say, maybe 70 laps, I think we'll be good. I think 70 laps is probably the number. Toyota, let's go places. 70 laps reliably. Like not exactly 70 laps, everybody's tire blows like it did today. Toyota, let's go places. BD will the 21 win a couple races this year. Earth 2, I feel like he's a stone cold lead pipe lock on Earth 2. Shame there weren't more fans in the seats. I could have been happy if they're well. I'd have been happy to be there if I could. Says Kim Pryor. So yeah, I thought about going, but then I was like, it's gonna make for a long day. We've got to go test at the racetrack tomorrow. So I was like, that's gonna be a long day. So I didn't end up doing it. Attendance looked low, but it also looked better than it was before they raced on dirt for 3 years. Says TJ. Barry had a good performance today. Yeah, I think they needed this shot in the arm. I don't know where he ended up finishing. I do know. I just read it, but I can't remember. Josh Berry, he ends up 12th. So good overall. They needed that shot in the arm over there. So good for them. Just leaving the track, and that was a crazy race. NASCAR, don't change a thing. So there you go. The people that attended it, they don't want you to change a thing. Could you say the same thing about Martin Truex Jr. with the Bass Pro Shop schemes? I think they're pretty much iconic for sure. NASCAR could run Firestones at road courses because F1 has the compounds figured out. Says Mark Barnum. That would be good in practice. It's not going to happen in reality though, because Goodyear paid a lot of money to be the manufacturer for the NASCAR Cup Series. 54 lead changes, most at a short track ever. Says Appalachia Dogs for sure. I got to bounce, but you can always catch me on Discord. Hope everyone enjoyed the race, and there is the Discord link right there. Appreciate you there, Glock. Love Bristol. There's nothing like it, but I seriously wonder how long the spring race will last. It's just a placeholder for Wilkesboro or the fairgrounds. Point State is here to stay for sure. I don't disagree with that. Almendinger ate his Cheetos and drank his Mountain Dew since he purchased them at Food City. I like what you did there in between the lanes. That was a solid car. That was a solid car today, too. 5 races, 5 different winners, says like dislike. Let's talk about Logano. Yeah, Logano fell through the field like a rock once again. So, like I said, Penske's either on top of it or they completely miss it. Take the intermediate package to short tracks. I know Bristol had had it because of the high loads, but intermediate at Martinsville and Richmond can't be any worse than the short track package. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Was expecting more from Ross, but he had problems all day. Yeah, once he started in the back, like it was just hard to overcome all that for him. Apparently, Bob Pockris is bad luck when it comes to choosing a driver to win a race, so he didn't choose Christopher Bell, but Ryan Blaney this week. Sucks Hamlin lucked himself into another win, says Steve Van. Rick Ware Racing was looking good, says like dislike. They were looking good. I was entertained seeing 5 drivers finish on the lead lap. Yeah, that's as old school as it gets. That's how it used to be back in the day, before all these stage cautions and whatnot. We can put a man on the moon, but not be able to make a tire last 500 miles. Oh, we can make them last 500 miles, but I don't think anybody would want to see that particular racing product. Why? Because they couldn't sell more tires to the teams. All about the dollar, like everything else, says Alan. That's probably a lot of truth to that. It's also Selection Sunday for March Madness, not NASCAR related. Yeah, so hopefully NC State ruining everybody on the ACC's weekend this week. All the Carolina fans were talking hardcore junk, and then they ended up getting beat by NC State just like Duke and everybody else did. Virginia, Duke, and everybody else got beat by NC State. Byron went out early today, says in between the lanes. Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's really good here, so he didn't get a chance to show what he could do. They passed the lead record at Bristol, 338 out of 500. That is insane, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, that's pretty crazy stat for sure. They asked for tire fall off. They got it, so now NASCAR should allow more tires now. Please change the tires before they cord. Yeah, so that's probably the other way to look at it as well. I heard John Hunter Nemechek went to Dollar Tree after the race, before and after the race. Actually, he had to go pick up some new friends because he wasn't making any on the racetrack. Racing has been great except for the cactus in the desert, but Phoenix is Phoenix. Coda will be good. Martinsville is a little concerned, but to be fair, what if they had brought this tire to Phoenix? If they had brought this tire to Phoenix, we might not be saying this about Phoenix. So I just would like to throw that out there as well. The short track package needs a softer tire. Maybe not this soft, but they definitely need a softer tire. Why can't Fox show up top 10 cars crossing the finish line and not just show the leader, the in-car and the crew celebrating back to the car while everyone else is finishing? I don't know. That's a good question, Brian. They always – back in the day, they used to show basically the top 10, like you're saying, come across. I don't know when they changed that. But for sure, Fox definitely doesn't do that anymore. Didn't Goodyear director explain they did what NASCAR wanted? Yeah, that's basically what he said. He said we did what NASCAR wanted, and the only variable we couldn't account for was the PJ1 being replaced with whatever resin they went with. Was hoping Truex would win over Hamlin, but it could have been the most exciting Truex win ever, says Napa Racing fan. There was definitely a lot of people cheering for Truex on the Discord, I'll tell you that. I wouldn't be surprised if Ty Gibbs gets a win before many seasoned drivers like Logano, Keselowski, Busch, and Elliott, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, he's right up there. He's had some of the best finishes, the best overall probably average finish of everybody so far this year. I'm guessing because he had it before this race started, so I imagine he kept it after the race. What do you think of the conversation that's going on? What do you think the conversation is going to be about if NASCAR gives more horsepower they are asking for? I don't think we're going to get more horsepower. I think, and that's why I didn't want to make that episode the other day. Obviously, everybody wants more horsepower, but we might as well just go scream at this wall over here because NASCAR is not going to listen to anybody. If they were listening to anybody, they would change the horsepower a long time ago. What they can do is make the tires fall off like you saw today. So I think that's probably going to be the better bet going forward is to ask for more tire fall off. Maybe not as drastic and as extreme as it was today, but we need more tire fall off to see comers and goers and people manage their tires and not just go out there and, like Clint Boyer said, run a qualifying lap every lap. Like that's not as fun to watch, and that's why you don't see as fun a racing, because when you're running a qualifying lap every lap, you're getting everything you can out of the car. It makes it really hard to pass. Whereas if you're conserving tires, saving tires, tires are falling off, you save your tires better than the other guy, you're going to see some passing. You're going to see some comers and goers. You're going to see more fun racing. And that's what you saw today. And I think that's what a lot of people enjoyed. So I don't think horsepower is the answer, like I was saying the other day. I think tires are the answer. And today, thank God it happened like this, because it proved exactly what I was trying to say. The tires are the problem, not the horsepower or the aero or whatever else they've changed thus far. All right, let me get off my – all right. Yeah, there you go. Got off my soapbox. I've gotten off that particular topic. Good race today, says Delmar Kaufman. Forget about horsepower. Now we can discuss tire wear for a week. It's not much of a discussion. We definitely need tire wear. It just doesn't need to be as drastic as this, but it definitely proved the point that if you're not going to up the horsepower, which is going to make tire fall off greater, then make tire fall off greater without upping the horsepower, and you got good racing here today. I didn't miss the dirt, says Sonny V. I saw a lot of people say that, and here's the deal. I think we need a dirt race. We just need a dirt race on an actual dirt track. That's the issue. Like, give dirt fans what they want. Dirt fans want a dirt race at a dirt track, and do it in a dirt track manner where you have one day is your heats and qualifying, and one day is your actual race, and not everybody's going to qualify for that race. You've got an opportunity to qualify for that race, but you know what? Who cares about your charter if you don't qualify for that dirt race in the qualifying races? Then you're not going to race, and just deal with it. They did the thing. They did it that way at the Coliseum. They can do it that way at a dirt track, and that's just the way it's going to be. Plus, you'll sell more tickets because you'll have 3 or 4 days of racing there. So that's just there's the other soapbox issue there. Let's see. Yes, tires, says Aaron. Eldora would be perfect. A lot of people, that's the first one they want to try. The what was it? Something for a prelude to a dream that Tony Stewart started back in the day. So we'll have to see if that happens. Looks like we've reached the end of the comments, so we'll sit here and see if anybody else has anything else to say. Let's see. Run through the points one more time. Kyle Larson takes your points lead after this one. Martin Truex Jr. is second. Ty Gibbs is third. Ryan Blaney is fourth. Denny Hamlin fifth. Chase Elliott sixth. Seventh for Ross Chastain. Eighth for Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick ninth. William Byron 10th. Daniel Suarez 11th. Alex Bowman 12th. Brad Keselowski 13th. Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. are tied, I should say. Let's see. Chris Buescher 14th. John Hunter Nemechek 15th. Kyle Busch 16th. Your last man in as it stands right now. Michael McDowell, Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, and Eric Jones are your first four looking in. All right. Let's see. Eldora would be perfect. I think Eldora would be perfect too. Napa Race fan, what do you think of the video about BFM and plagiarism? Here's my deal, man. Like, I watched the video, and from what I saw, the only thing that he was quote unquote necessarily plagiarizing was facts. So if he was just using facts off of it, that's one thing. And it's hard to say because this isn't a paper where on a paper you can look at it and see it that he gave the notation here. So it's a tricky one because the only thing that they quote unquote on this particular video, I'm not talking about anything he's ever done because some people say or have some other things to say about that. But from what I saw, the only thing that he was quote unquote plagiarizing were just facts. So factual information, that's a tricky one. So I don't know. Here's my deal. I like Darian. I'm going to keep watching Darian's videos. I appreciate them. I enjoy them. So that's where I stand with it. At the end of the day, this isn't college. We're not writing papers. Nobody. He's not costing anybody on Wikipedia money. So it is what it is. But if you don't want to watch his videos, then you don't have to. So, but I'm going to keep watching them because I think they're entertaining and he's got good information in them. Until the France family buys a dirt track, no dirt races, says Bruce Garvey. That could be a huge deal too. Who should be betting? Who should be the betting favorite next week at Coda? Says Kendall. What's up, cousin Kendall? I don't know. I don't know. Trackhouse had a lot of speed, but Tyler Reddick is really good too. So just off the top of my head, I'm going to go Trackhouse or Tyler Reddick. I want to say AJ Allmendinger or SVG, whoever's going to be in the 16. I can't remember. I think it's going to be SVG. So, but I don't know that Colleagues had speed. But they're probably going to spend a lot of money to get speed. But I'd say Trackhouse or Tyler Reddick would have to be my go-to pick there. Never sleep on Chase Elliott. At a road course, though, I thought the truck race was better than today's. Truck race looked more like a traditional Bristol, says Jesse. Have a great week, everyone. See y'all on Tuesday. Let's get ready to turn left and right, says Say Kyle. I think Denny and Martin hung it out, hoping tires would last in a cooler track temps. Yeah. I think they had good strategy for the end, and it ended up bouncing Denny Hamlin's way. Martin Truex said he wore out his left tire or his right side right rear tire, and that's why he couldn't attack him at the end. So Martin did everything he could do, but he wore out that right rear. So Denny had the better tire saving strategy. And all right, that looks like the last one. So we'll catch you guys on Tuesday. I'm going to go make the video for tomorrow, and then I'm going to go get ready to go to the racetrack. Peace.